Imagine a family that seems ordinary, loving parents, responsible children, and a home that appears safe and welcoming. Now, imagine that everything is a lie. Beneath the surface, this family orchestrates murders, manipulates the justice system, and deceives an entire community into believing they are victims. Tonight, we uncover the shocking story of the family that pretended to be victims but were the puppeteers behind the killings. Crimes often come with a face, a suspect, a motive, and sometimes an unmistakable pattern. But what happens when the faces presented to investigators, neighbors, and the media are nothing more than masks? Some of the most chilling cases involve perpetrators hiding in plain sight, manipulating perceptions, and exploiting trust. This family's story is a terrifying example of deception, control, and cold-blooded calculation. They weren't just involved in a crime, they orchestrated a series of killings, using false victimhood as a shield while pulling the strings from behind the scenes. The family and their public persona. To outsiders, the family seemed perfect. They attended community events, maintained a strong social presence, and cultivated an image of hardship and resilience. Tragedy appeared to touch them in small ways. A theft here, a minor accident there, enough to gain sympathy, but never enough to arouse suspicion. Neighbors, friends, and even law enforcement saw only the surface, a family struggling, enduring, and surviving. The mask was convincing, and it shielded them from scrutiny. But the truth beneath was far darker. Early manipulations. The family's criminal behavior began subtly. Small manipulations, false stories, staged incidents, and minor scams allowed them to test reactions, control narratives, and gain leverage over their surroundings. They learned how to manipulate investigators, exploit legal loopholes, and control information. The goal was never just to commit crimes, it was to appear innocent, while orchestrating actions behind the scenes. Each small deception built confidence and reinforced the illusion of victimhood. The killings begin. Eventually, manipulation escalated into murder. Each killing was methodical, carefully planned, and executed with precision. The family selected victims, strategically people who could be blamed for minor incidents, individuals with no close ties, or those whose disappearance could be spun into plausible stories. Staging was critical. Crime scenes were arranged to mislead investigators, leaving false clues that pointed to imagined enemies. The family's apparent innocence shielded them from suspicion, making it nearly impossible for authorities to connect the dots. Using public sympathy as a shield. One of the most chilling aspects of the case was the family's use of public sympathy. They portrayed themselves as victims of circumstance, of tragic accidents, or of external forces beyond their control. Every interaction with authorities, media, and neighbors reinforced this narrative. By controlling the story, they diverted attention from themselves and amplified the perceived danger from imagined threats. The mask of vulnerability was a weapon, turning public perception into a protective shield. Manipulation of law enforcement. The family's ability to manipulate law enforcement was remarkable. They provided misleading statements, staged alibis, and planted evidence to point suspicion elsewhere. Investigators, unaware of the deception, followed false leads, wasting critical time and resources. Even forensic analysis, when interpreted in isolation, seemed to support the family's version of events. The combination of careful planning, knowledge of procedures, and psychological manipulation created a perfect storm, keeping authorities one step behind. Recruiting accomplices and creating a network. The family's control extended beyond their household. They recruited friends, neighbors, or distant relatives to assist in small ways, whether knowingly or unknowingly. These accomplices helped execute logistics, provide alibis, or divert attention, further insulating the family from suspicion. This network allowed them to scale their crimes. The killings were not isolated incidents, but part of a coordinated pattern, with roles carefully distributed to minimize exposure and maximize deception. Digital deception and evidence manipulation. In the modern age, digital footprints are crucial to investigations. The family understood this and manipulated technology to their advantage. Phones, emails, and social media accounts were controlled to reinforce their narrative, create false evidence, and monitor law enforcement activity. They even went as far as fabricating online interactions or digital threats to support claims of being targeted themselves. Every piece of evidence was curated to mislead, demonstrating not just cunning, but a deep understanding of human and procedural psychology. The turning point in the investigation. Despite their elaborate planning, the family's web of deception began to unravel. Investigators noticed inconsistencies, timelines that didn't add up, witness accounts that contradicted statements, and subtle forensic evidence that resisted manipulation. A breakthrough came when digital analysis exposed communications that the family could not fully erase. These messages revealed coordination, premeditation, and internal discussions about the killings. The illusion of victimhood began to crack, exposing the shocking reality of their role as masterminds. Exposure and arrest. Once the evidence was undeniable, law enforcement moved swiftly. Arrests were executed, revealing the full scope of the family's involvement in multiple murders and manipulations. The public was stunned not just by the crimes themselves, but by the extent of deception and psychological manipulation involved. The court case highlighted the family's sophistication, careful planning, strategic execution, and manipulation of perception. Every trial phase revealed more about their ability to orchestrate violence while maintaining a mask of innocence. Psychological analysis. Experts examining the family noted several key traits: high intelligence, manipulative skills, lack of empathy, and a remarkable ability to control perception. They treated others as pieces on a chessboard, anticipating reactions and exploiting weaknesses. The family's case illustrates the extreme end of human manipulation, how psychological insight can be weaponized for criminal purposes. It also underscores the danger of assumptions. Appearances can be deceiving, and those who seem most vulnerable may, in reality, be the most dangerous. Impact on the community. The exposure of the family sent shockwaves through the community. Neighbors, friends, and acquaintances reevaluated every interaction, every gesture, and every story they had taken at face value. Trust was shattered, and the sense of safety in the community was deeply eroded. The case also prompted law enforcement agencies to rethink strategies for detecting manipulative behavior, evaluating crime scenes, and investigating cases where victims may be perpetrators in disguise. Lessons learned. Several key lessons emerge from this case. Appearances can be deceptive. Public perception is not always reliable. Even victims can be perpetrators. Manipulation is a powerful tool. Psychological control can conceal criminal activity and delay justice. Forensics and digital evidence are critical. Careful analysis is required to see beyond staged scenarios. Trust must be balanced with scrutiny. Authorities and communities must remain vigilant, even when cases appear straightforward. Criminal networks can operate from within. Family or social structures can be leveraged to commit and conceal crimes. The aftermath. Following the arrests, the family faced lengthy legal proceedings, and their story became a cautionary tale in criminal psychology. Survivors and victims' families struggled to reconcile the public persona of the family with the sinister reality revealed in court. The case also influenced law enforcement training, emphasizing the need for behavioral analysis, digital forensic expertise, and careful evaluation of victim-perpetrator dynamics. The role of emotional manipulation on the surrounding community. Part of the family's strategy relied on controlling not just law enforcement, but the emotions of those around them. By evoking sympathy, fear, or loyalty, they manipulated neighbors, friends, and even minor acquaintances into protecting them, withholding information, or dismissing suspicious behavior. This emotional manipulation created an additional layer of invisibility, allowing the family to commit crimes while the community unwittingly shielded them. It underscores how psychological control can extend far beyond the PAN's immediate circle of perpetrators and victims. The story of this family is one of deception, intelligence, and chilling manipulation. They were not just participants in crime, they were orchestrators, hiding behind masks of innocence while committing murders. It serves as a stark reminder that in criminal investigations, nothing should be taken at face value. Appearances, sympathy, and social standing can all be manipulated to conceal unimaginable acts. In this case, those who seemed most vulnerable were, in fact, the most dangerous. The family that pretended to be victims but were the masterminds behind the killings left a legacy of shock, fear, and lessons for communities and law enforcement alike. They remind us that evil can wear the face of innocence, that perception can be weaponized, and that justice often requires seeing beyond the surface. Behind the mask of normalcy, darkness can thrive, and sometimes, the hands pulling the strings are those we least expect.